I don't want to do this today. I don't care. I don't want to do this today. We're not. I'm not doing this today. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You got to put your microphone on if you're going to talk to me.
I got it.
Yeah.
I was saying, okay. What do you want to do today?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I want to do today. But I don't want to do this. I know that.
Do you have to do this today?
Well, yeah, you're making me. It's
Am
all
I?
it's your damn fault.
Am I?
Yeah, you are. Welcome, folks, into Strategies for Living. I'm
That's Grouchy David.
I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan, and you're listening to Strategies here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and she is PLPC Carla McCormick. Are we going to fight again?
No, but you just doused my sparkle.
You know,
Your negativity got on me.
My negativity got all over you. So what are you going to do about that?
I guess I'll just be negative with you.
Okay. Well, let's just be negative in the entire dadgum show. So let's bring on our negative producer. He is Travis Stewart. We don't even have our regular producer. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me?
Hey, Travis, welcome.
It's contagious, isn't it?
It is contagious.
This is a lot more negative than last time.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Actually, thank you for tuning in to taking over for Rapid Ruben. He deserves a vacation.
Oh, absolutely he does.
Yeah, and we may hear from him this evening because you guys are kind of doing this together, get you acclimated. So thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely.
I won't be negative to you this evening.
Well, thank you.
But I'm going to be negative to Ruben, and I'm going to be negative to Carla. Because we're talking about womp womp. We're talking about negativity tonight. How do you deal with negative people? How do you respond to negative people without letting them drain your energy?
It's hard.
And they do, don't they?
It's very hard to do.
I mean, yeah. Pretty much a day doesn't go by that for most of us, I think, we encounter some form of negativity. So we're going to talk about how to respond to that without you being negative or you getting negative. Thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living, folks. We are brought to you by CADA, the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse of Northwest Louisiana. We're also brought to you by Jerry Anderson, State Farm Insurance. We're brought to you by Learning RX, by Highland Place Rehab and Nursing Center, by Jacob's Well, Inspirational Books and Gifts, and by Resilient House. We'll come back and we'll learn all about how to respond to negative people without turning negative yourself. That's our focus this evening here on Strategies. If we're talking addiction prevention, education,
Well, here I sit a high, getting ideas. Ain't nothing but a fool to live like this. Out all night, running wild. Woman sitting home with a month-old child.
Dang me. Dang me. Gotta take a rope and hang me. Is that negative enough for you?
That's pretty negative.
Welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for a Living. Marriage and family therapist David McMillan, PLPC, Carla McCormick, and we are talking about how to respond to negative people without being negative.
So I have a question. Have you ever worked or had to spend time with someone, forced time, that was super negative,
Yeah.
that you couldn't get away from?
Yeah. Like in a work environment where you got to see them every day, and
no matter what you did.
no matter what, it just didn't seem.
Good day. What's good about
Yeah,
it? You ever-
yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do? How'd you handle it?
I think there's a number of ways to handle it. I mean, what did I do? I probably got negative too, to be honest with you. I mean, it probably affected me. But I like what the Dalai Lama says. Don't let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace.
Because that's exactly what it does.
Yeah, it does. And Jesus had something to say about that too. This surprises some people, but that's really what turn the other cheek is all about. Turn the other cheek is not about being a wimp. I remember when I was a little boy and Attila the Nun taught that to me the first time. It sounded like, okay, well, to be a good Christian boy, you got to be a wimp.
Right.
But I don't, as I've grown and I've gotten deeper into it, I don't think that's what Jesus was talking about at all. I think what he was asking was the metaphysical question of who or what do you allow to be in control of you. You know what I mean by that?
So.
Okay, so let me say it this way.
Okay.
Let me ask it this way. Would you even think about coming in here and just slapping the dickens out of me?
No.
No. Okay. But if you came in here and we had an encounter and I slapped you, could you see that you would slap me back out of reaction or response?
Probably not, because that's not how I react. But
Okay.
okay. I can see how
But
somebody
can you
would.
see how
Yes.
many people would?
Yes.
And I think that the old eye for an eye or tooth for a tooth. I'm going to get you. I'm going to give you what you give me.
Right.
I think that's what Jesus was addressing. So I think he was asking the metaphysical question: who or what do you allow to be in control of you? If I slap you and you reactively slap me back, who has control of you?
The first person who slapped.
Yeah, I do. However, if I slap you and you make a choice not to slap me back, you, in other words, turn the other cheek. Now, as you turn the other cheek, you may well be deciding, okay, what's the appropriate response here? And what do I want to do? Not how am I going to immediately react to this, but what am I going to do? What is the correct response to this? Now who's in control of you?
Me.
Yeah.
But so if my internal message is kind of first do no harm.
Yeah.
And I don't mean in the medical sense, but I mean if my message is don't make things worse.
Right.
Then and that's what I strive to do. Then I'm going to back up and not do anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of it. That's turning the other cheek, right?
It could well be. I mean, the situation. It depends on the situation, but yeah, that well could be turning the other cheek. I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, if you have a coworker who is constantly talking loud, interrupts, gossips about anything and everybody, and who's not in the room, constantly complaining, really is a total martyr is just very happy in martyrdom. No one escapes this person's negativity. She's good at it, right?
And they usually are.
Yeah.
Because they practiced a long time.
She could take the happiest moment in a person's life and twist it around into a horrendous, horrible day. And, she seems to love it. She gets off on it. So how are you, naturally our mind, especially our mind in judgment, is going to say, that's horrible, that's terrible, that's inappropriate, right?
Well, and I can tell you what I did next when I was in that situation is I decided in all of my enlightenment that I was going to turn her around, right? I was going to be so positive that this person couldn't be negative.
Right.
That didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, and then again with the, back to the turn the other cheek thing, again doing that, who's in control?
The other person
She
was,
is,
because I
yeah.
was like a little dancing, monkey,
Yeah.
trying to make this person happy and see the positive and like me and all of these things, and none of it ever worked.
Look who's joined us at the guest table.
Oh, this makes me happy.
Doesn't this make you happy? He's going on vacation.
So he gets to be with us?
He gets to be with us on this side. Travis is doing all the heavy lifting.
That's right. I decided he doesn't need my help. He's fine.
He's fine. He's flying
I'm
good.
just in his way.
We gotta stay positive where he's concerned.
Oh, yes.
Or we can't let the negativity go over.
Can't let it seep in too deep.
Yeah, exactly. So, have you ever do you work around? Have you ever worked around negative people? Is that a what?
I guess that's a yes.
Yeah, I think that's a yes.
I've done the Robert and Erin show and several other shows around here where the focus is usually negative. But
yeah.
But,
That's not to say Robert and Erin
No,
are
they're not.
negative at all. It's just that they deal with
the subject matter sometimes
the
is
world.
incredibly negative.
Yeah, exactly. So that negativity and the coworker that we're talking about, it's infectious. It seeps in. It's
It
insidious.
gets on you.
It does. And so if you're not careful, what you find yourself doing is thinking about that negativity seeps in and takes over your entire mind, doesn't it?
Well, because it's all you think about. I mean, when
Yeah.
you say take over your whole mind, it's when you're around this person and you're with this person. For me, I was trying how not to be negative, not to be negative, not to be negative. So, I wasn't focused on the things I should have been focused on.
Mm-hmm.
I was focused on that person and
She was holding
my
you captive.
reaction. Absolutely,
Yeah.
and I put the noose around my neck and gave her the leash and said, "Here, you lead me around and you take me where you want me to go." I did that. I gave her that power.
How many times do you think we do that? And I think that's the ego doing its number, doing its thing, right there in both camps.
How so?
Well, someone who is that negative obviously is letting their operating system completely in control of them,
Okay.
because that's we're marvelously created beings, both you and she,
Okay.
right? So obviously something is not going right for her. Something is not going right for your former coworker
Okay.
or friend. And then you took it personally.
Oh, absolutely.
You made it you. And so again, there's your ego in play, because you personalized it. And I think we do that at all levels. We do that in marriages, we do that in families, we do that at work. Again, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and the person, one person in the couple in my room said, my mate makes me feel. Well, a therapist is going to go jump all over that, right?
No one can make you feel.
Psychobabble, right?
Right.
But it's true. I mean, if you and I line up, we know the 25 or 50 most influential people in Reuben's life, okay? And we line them up. We get them to come in one by one. We'll start with his daddy, Robert W.
Robert J. Wright.
Robert J. Wright. Yeah. And we bring them in one by one. And one by one they sit down and they look at and they say, you look green today. And then we take the next one. We take some of his buddies that he grew up with. Reuben, you look green today. And one by one they come in and they all tell him he looks green. Do you know that by around the 10th or so, he's going to be questioning,
He's going to be calling in sick.
Yeah.
am I green?
Going to the hospital.
By the 20th one, if you handed him a mirror, I bet you he'd see himself as green.
So he wouldn't be Reuben, he would be Kermit the Frog.
That's some heavy power suggestion.
But think about it. That's the ego in play. That's what I'm talking about. And it's even to the point of manifesting physically. I mean, if we but here's the key question: is Reuben green?
Not today.
No, not today.
No.
Not today. And yet, how many times do we do just that? I know I'm going to extremes here,
Right?
but we do that in subtle ways and not so subtle ways, and that really illustrates no one has the power until we give it to them, and we suddenly give it to them, and especially 25 most influential people in Reuben's right. You're green.
That's a scary list.
It is a scary list. We're talking today about how do you respond? How do you respond to negative people without being negative? We'll be back. More strategies to come.
When you think you're gonna win, you think she's giving in. A stranger's all you'll find. Yeah, it's hard to figure out what she's all about, what she's woman.
Welcome back. Welcome back into 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. PLPC Carla McCormick. The green man himself, Reuben Wright.
Don't bring me down.
And marriage and family therapist David McMillan, all on Strategies for Living. Have no fear. There is a pilot in the cockpit tonight.
Yes.
Travis Stewart is taking your place because you're a little green today.
Yes, I am. There unfortunately is no autopilot in radio.
No. Welcome back, folks. We're talking about how to respond to negative people without being negative. We've convinced Reuben that he's green. Now, you were talking about your friend. You're talking about interacting with your friend, and it seeped all in.
Right, and I let it in.
I
opened the door. I mean, what I eventually realized is I was almost exaggerating the negative.
All right, so you became green then.
Yeah.
Your friend, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Your friend convinced you that you were green, right? She changed you.
Well, in a different respect, but yeah. because I was determined to. I was trying so hard to not be negative. I kind of went in that direction by accident, by like.
Oh no, it wasn't by. Well, I know it was by. But what we need to understand the mind.
Yes.
We need to understand the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. So,
unconsciously, yes.
Yeah. So the conscious mind is about 15% of our mind. Dr. Freud, everybody bow, said, he gave us the illustration of the difference between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Is like an iceberg.
Right.
And if I remember from general science in the 7th grade, about 1/7 of the iceberg, pokes above the water. 6/7 of the iceberg is below the water. I'm not the greatest mathematician in the world, but I think that's about 15% to 85%. So 85% of mind is going to operate at that unconscious level. And some of that 85% is deep, deep, deep unconscious, right?
Yeah.
And so, again, that's where the green comes in. That's where, again, it would takes a few minutes back to Reuben, and he's not gonna fall far. I'm green the first, the second, the third, maybe the fifth.
Right.
It's gonna be, it's gonna be the 10th, the 12th, the 15th, where he's gonna say, well, damn.
I'm turning into Lou Ferrigno.
Maybe I am green, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing probably happened with you. So it's that unconscious place that seeps up, and we've got to be if we want to deal with this, we've got to understand the power of our unconscious minds.
It took me a long time. So it took me a long time to realize that, because then after I was the little dancing monkey, please like me, please like me. How can you not like me? Everybody likes me.
Right. Right.
Don't be negative. Then it was, dang you. And then it was this big wall, and it was this venom and this anger and this I'll show you kind of deal, which again was only hurting who? Me.
Yeah.
Because that person went along with their lives and they didn't think anything of it, and I'm the one going home miserable and angry and upset because how dare this person put this negativity in my life, and of course I'm just adding to it, right?
So what would have happened, Reuben, if she had made a simple decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to take this personally. I'm not gonna, instead of the blaming and the pushing back and resisting the truth of what her coworker was being and doing at the moment, what if she just said, I just accept it. I just accept this person for who they are.
Well, yeah, that anger would subside, and she wouldn't take it out on us when she got here to the
show. you busted her.
That's called sideways anger.
Exactly. So, and even beyond that, now this is the stuff of the Dalai Lama and Jesus and the Pope and anybody, Buddha. Billy Graham and Buddha, anybody that we would put on that level of enlightenment. Actually, see, the point that we really want to get to is welcoming that into our life. So I mean, when I encounter a negative person, thank you. You're showing up in my life for something. You're showing up to teach me. You've got something to teach me. Now that's hard.
That's really hard.
That's very, very, very
I don't know
difficult.
if I'm that enlightened.
Well, how do we?
He started to say you're not.
You're not, and I'm not, and Travis isn't, and Ruben's not.
I don't know about Travis, but
Well, Travis may be. Travis may be. But the thing is, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of work on our ego. I love the acronym EGO, EGO, easing God out.
Oh, because I'm taking over.
Yeah, I'm taking over. I think I can run the show. But really what I need to do is I need to let the spiritual, I need to, in recovery there's a saying, let go and let God.
Yes.
What that really is saying is let me allow the spirit within. Let me allow my spiritual self. Let me allow my higher self. We could say the Holy Spirit. Whatever label you want to put on it, I don't care.
So are you saying that, in a sense, I have to see the God in the other people?
Yes,
To
yes.
let them...
Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't you?
Because it's all about me.
Right. Your ego is who tells you. And, and we do this on all levels. I'm going to get in trouble now. We do this from the lowest of the low right on up to the bishops and the cardinals and we condemn, we judge, you're going straight to hell.
Right.
We speak in the name of God.
It's double syllable.
You got to put a two. You got to
syllables.
Yeah. When you're speaking in the when you're doing that judgment thing, you have to put a couple of syllables in God. When speaking in the name of God. But when we get into that judgment place, and that is exactly, who did Jesus have the harshest words for?
The Pharisees.
The Sadducees and the Pharisees, the religious elite of his day. And what he did what was akin to cursing at them. You brood of vipers. Those weren't nice words back then.
Them's fighting words.
Yeah. And he said, you're like those sepulchers out there. You're beautiful and white on the outside, and you're just you're rotten bones on the inside. That's pretty strong.
That's pretty strong words.
And who did he have those strong words for? The ones that were judgmental, the ones that were putting all the rules and regulations. And what did he say? It's pretty simple, guys. Love and forgive. That's it. Love and forgive. The rest of it will take care of itself. It's pretty simple. Well, we still don't have that. we are still EGOing. We're still easing God out. And we even do it now. Think about it. I mean, I don't have the statistics. Ruben probably knows them by heart. But we've killed more people. We kill more, and we continue to. You might say, well, that's not happening in the 21st century. Bull honky. We kill more people in the name of God than anything else.
Why would I know those statistics by heart?
I'm just because you're green. Don't forget you're green, Ruben.
The good little Episcopalian that you are.
Right.
We got to do a show on that. We got to do a show on your good Episcopalian raising.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. I your bishop's been on with me.
It was fun.
I like Bishop Jake.
He's good.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
we need to invite him on. So anyway, does that make sense? What I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But I think we don't when we're in the heat of it and it's happening, we don't realize sometimes. Or I guess, let me speak for myself. I didn't even realize what was happening.
Yeah.
It just kind of...
Well, you got hooked.
Yeah.
You got hooked.
And that would be the iceberg under the water part.
Okay, so let's back up from this further. Because what you've got to do with the ego is you've got to be... You'll get trapped. Mm-hmm. You'll get trapped, and the conscious mind and the ego will trap you. And the unconscious.
Right.
So if you don't take a step back and attempt to look at this from a broader perspective. That's the beauty of things like deep centering prayer in the Christian tradition, or meditation in the Christian or Buddhist tradition, others also. That's really the beauty the benefit of it. You've got to take that step back. If you take the step back, then you can see that what you did with the coworker was you disconnected. You disconnected from her, and yet that's your ego, because in reality, the reality is, whether we can see it or not, you know, Reuben and you and Travis and I and everybody else are connected, and we can't not be. Everybody on the planet is connected, and we can't not be. So love your neighbor as you love yourself makes very, very good sense. Because if I do something to my neighbor, I'm really doing it to myself, right?
Right.
So instead of continuing to disconnect, if I take a step back, I can avoid being with that negativity, by reconnecting, by seeing, okay, I've got to see this person as who they are, a beautiful, wonderful child of God. So how am I going to now respond? Maybe with kindness and compassion toward both of us. See, I don't want you to judge you either.
Right.
Yeah.
Judge me for
your responding.
Right.
You know, I don't want any of us to judge, because once we get into the judgment, we're hooked. I mean, that's the. I mean, I'm not a great big fisherman, but I do know enough that, that juicy bait on the end of the hook, fish goes for it. Once the fisherman pulls, that fish is hooked. That fish, you may fight a little while, but eventually it's going to get tired. It's coming in. That's what happens to us. You took the bait, and then you got hooked, and that's all your ego.
so what
And all that other person's ego.
well, and then what I just realized, so from the angry wall,
Yeah.
then I went into bless your heart.
Yeah.
It must really be hard to be you,
Yeah.
which is still
Still
my ego,
disconnecting.
because I'm still like have this air of superiority.
It's still a judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the trick is for all of us, and this is hard. How do we do this without disconnecting? How do I handle, my very, very negative people that are all around me without disconnecting from them, staying connected, dealing with kindness and compassion, seeing them for who they are, not what they're doing right now, but seeing them for who they are, beautiful, wonderful creations, divine creations, just like every one of us.
That takes a whole level of empathy.
It really does. We'll talk about some things when we come back. Some strategies. We are strategies for living.
We are strategies for living.
We'll talk about some strategies that maybe will help us
with our empathy.
with our empathy and with our compassion,
Okay.
and help us to stay kind and keep Reuben green.
Agreed.
It's not easy being green.
It's not easy. No, it isn't easy being green. Ribbit. We'll be back. Hey, hey, welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. PLPC Carla McCormick, marriage and family therapist David McMillan, Rapid Ruben Wright, about to vacate.
Oh, yes.
You know, now that just hurts.
He's at the big table with us tonight.
He is
folks.
at the big table because Travis Stewart is going to be our ace of the airwaves here. Well, I guess he can't be ace, can he?
I mean,
You're gonna let him be. You're gonna let him be ensign at least.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that works.
Okay.
Or
He can be-
maybe Goose
Goose,
from Top Gun.
Oh.
Goose.
Goose. He's your wingman, right?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, I really am glad you're able to get away. You're a
Oh, God, me too.
You're a hard work. You really are a hard working guy. We're talking this evening about how to respond to negative people without being negative. You were sharing a story.
So, real life story. Started. This coworker did not like me.
Yeah.
I jumped through hoops to try to, because my big ego told me that, everybody likes me. How could this
she
person
not?
not?
Yeah.
Didn't work. Then it was, okay, I'm going to hate you back.
Right.
That made me miserable.
Right.
Then it was, oh, God, it must suck to be you. Bless your heart.
Bless
which
your
I finally
heart.
realized was pompous and arrogant.
Yeah, but at the time you were doing it, you thought you were okay. Well, this is the better way.
I did.
But it's still the
and
now you see it's still the ego, right?
Well, now I see what an arrogant ass I was. Can I say that on radio?
That's
yeah.
fine.
Well, you just did.
And then finally I got to the point where I let the walls down enough to actually get to know this person and realize that they were dealing with stuff that I had no idea of, and give this person a break and treat this person with empathy. And eventually when I left, I recommended this person for my job.
Wow.
I mean, and
Wow.
that was an evolution of probably 2.5 years. But there was a lot of growth through that,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
a lot of tears and a lot of pain. And
So let's unpack some of the strategies there.
Okay.
Okay, let's unpack. And these strategies, I think.
I wish I had known this, but back
Well,
then.
yeah, of course. But again, that we still have to stay kind and compassionate towards ourselves, and say, you can't know what you don't know until you know it.
I know.
You can quote me on that.
Okay.
Okay. You can't know what you don't know till you. Yeah, we're going to have to transcribe some of this stuff from radio and get it down.
One of these days.
Yeah, one of these days. Okay, so these are some ways, some strategies that you can stay positive around negative people, and especially people we can't avoid or that we don't want to remove from our lives for whatever reason. One, our friend Don Miguel Ruiz gave us in the 4 agreements, and I think it's got to be number one. Absolutely refuse to take it personally.
It's not about
It's not
you.
about you. So what you got to with this coworker was, you came to realize that this person was dealing with very difficult situations in her own life, and she was a target, and she had unhealthy coping strategies, and but her behavior was manifesting out of some insecurity, out of fear, out of anger within herself, right? All reasons for us to be compassionate
Yes.
and kind towards that person. So the most important thing you can remember is that this is about them, not you. And therefore, I'm not going to take it personally, because when somebody is treating me badly, they're confused. It's the only thing that makes sense, because if they weren't confused, if they knew that we were all connected, if they knew we were all one, but they wouldn't be acting that way. So how do you deal with someone who's confused?
So when you say confused, you really mean that they're hurting.
They're hurting. Yeah. They don't see it. Go back to what we were talking about Tuesday night. They don't see it.
Right.
Right. They're reactive instead of creative.
Creative,
Yeah.
yes.
So just absolutely, one strategy is refuse to take this personal, because it's not personal.
And that requires patience, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It requires patience. You have to be patient with the process. You've got to be patient with the other people or person involved. But mostly you got to be patient with yourself. So
Yeah.
patience is a big time strategy. You know what another one is, I think? Gratitude.
Being grateful for.
Whatever's going well.
Oh.
Whatever's going well, and including, now this is a little hard one, but it fits under this. If I'm encountering this person and moving through what you just described, you know, if you had been grateful on the front end of that, if you had just absolutely known, she's giving me an opportunity to grow. There's no way that I can get through this, whatever the situation. It could be the coworker, it could be a divorce, it could be
a difficult relative at Thanksgiving.
It could be being fired from a job. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Anything. But if you can stay in gratitude, if you can say, you know what, I'm gonna choose. I'm absolutely gonna choose to be grateful for what's going well. Make a gratitude list if you need to. Tell people what you're thankful about for them and their presence and what blessings, even if they're small. You know, put the good energy out into the world, and you know, it'll be given back to you. So gratitude can go a long way to remind us that life involves more than what's going on right now, our immediate surroundings, and what I'm dealing with right this moment or today.
Well, and then that takes you to empathy, right? Where you're trying to see it from the other person's perspective.
Absolutely,
And-
absolutely.
I mean, and that's ultimately where I got.
Yeah.
Is with empathy, where I was able to see that things weren't exactly what I thought they were.
Yeah. All right, so that leads to another strategy. Remind yourself that each person that you're dealing with is on their own journey. Okay, so we all have to learn the difficult lessons in life. You learned through that process those lessons of life, but your coworker hopefully learned some lessons too. So remind yourself that, you know, we're all on our own journeys, and we have to learn different lessons at life at different times, and that sometimes we're gonna have collisions.
Well, what I learned was that I was letting her punch my buttons, and you
Yep.
know, and then I was blaming her, and she didn't even know my buttons existed.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
She had no idea.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. You know, they'll definitely clash, and sometimes I'm even guilty of being, you know, why is this person reacting to me so badly? Oh, it's because I'm in a foul mood and I'm projecting
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it even happens to me. So, and
Yeah.
it's hard to differentiate until after the fact. Usually, that's the big part.
Right, and
you'll
that-
realize it, but not when it's
I
happening.
know,
Yeah.
but hopefully next time it happens, or next time in this situation, I'll realize it sooner. But that's it. She was punching my buttons without even knowing it. I was mad at her that she was, and she didn't even know that that's what she was doing.
Absolutely. So again, kindness and back to kindness and compassion
And
that flows
empathy.
that flows underneath this. Now, last but not least, in terms of strategies, choose. This is the power of choice and decision. Choose to view whatever challenge you're dealing with as an opportunity. Choose. That's a choice. That's a choice and a decision.
An opportunity to do what? To
To
be
grow.
a bigger person?
To grow and to discover more about yourself. What happened to you in the process? I mean, it was a 2 or 3 year process, but what happened to you? You grew and you learned more about yourself. So if on the front end I can view whatever challenge I'm dealing with as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery, then that really changes the mindset, and that can transform everything. It can transform our entire attitude. Just slightly altering the perception can help you imagine the other person in a completely different way. You do that, and you can change everything.
It would have relieved a lot of agony.
Yeah. We're talking about how to respond to negative people without being negative. Carla and I are trying not to be negative because Ruben's going off. When we come back, we'll learn all about his adventures coming up. We'll be back. More strategies to come.
You never take advice. Some
Welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. PLPC Carla McCormick, marriage and family therapist David McMillan, the ace of the airways, Rapid Ruben Wright, and Travis Stewart at the controls here on Strategies for Living. And we all hate you. You know that, don't you? We all hate you.
Because he's gone on vacation.
Don't project your negativity on me, man.
Well, you know, I really. Where you going to the mountains?
Yeah, we're going to a nice place in the Smoky Mountains right outside of Gatlinburg.
That's wonderful.
Stay up there for a few days, pass through Nashville tomorrow, and eat some barbecue and listen to some music. And,
wow.
yeah. And then it's all nature from there.
So come back with great stories, okay?
Oh yeah.
And the main thing,
you might see a bear. You never know.
Don't feed the bears.
Don't feed
No,
the bear.
no,
No.
no.
Only you can prevent forest fires. So
That's
Smokey might come and hug you.
Yeah.
You know, have a great time. You deserve the time off, and you're one of the hardest working guys I know. So, you know, you deserve it.
I'm up here an awful lot.
You are.
It seems like.
You and your lovely wife have a wonderful, wonderful
Hey,
time.
we are absolutely planning on it. It is the first. It is our late honeymoon. So we've been married for 3 years, so it's our 3 years late honeymoon.
It's about time you got around to taking that gal on a honeymoon. Just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I think 3 years is long enough.
I think so. Carla, have we fixed your ego this evening? Have you learned some things about responding to negative people without getting negative?
I have, and these are lessons that I wish I had learned earlier.
But you learn them. We learn them when we learn them.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a real quick question.
Better be real quick.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to cover this next time. But what about the people who always think that you should confront somebody that you're having a problem with?
We ought to do a show on that. Would you write that down?
Yeah. Yes, I'm writing it down.
Yeah, write that down because that's a whole show. I can't answer that in 10 seconds.
All right.
And I'm not going to try.
It just popped in my head.
There you go. Well,
You know.
that happens. It's a dangerous place up there.
It is a dangerous neighborhood.
Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living. We've been brought to you by CADA, by the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse of Northwest Louisiana. We've been brought to you by Jerry Anderson, State Farm Insurance, by Learning RX, by Highland Place Rehab and Nursing Center, by Jacob's Well, Inspirational Books and Gifts, and by Resilient House. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, let me ask you a question. Who would you call? What would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Ruben Wright and for PLPC Carla McCormick and for Travis Stewart, I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan, and we'll see you next time here on Strategies for Living.